Today we're just going to show you how to use the Rotovap for the CHEM 527 labs. So here's your Rotovap setup. That's what it looks like. We have 3 of them in this lab, and the whole point of it is to evaporate your excess solvent and allow you to isolate your product. So first you're going to want to go fill up the bucket, looks like that, with ice. The ice machine is on the 2nd floor. Just whoever first uses the Rotovap or whoever the TA tells should go get the ice, and then at the end of the day should empty that bucket out. So once you go get some ice, you're going to bring it back and you're going to place it underneath the solvent trap, and you're just going to want to raise it up so that this stays cool. Okay. Next, you should make sure this piece is on here. This is just called the, I guess the bubble trap. And that makes sure that if any excess solvent or whatnot, or some of your sample actually bubbles out of your flask and goes up into here, that it doesn't actually get into the main apparatus. So that just keeps this part clean. So you should just make sure that this piece is attached. So you're gonna have your round bottom. You're gonna wanna make sure your round bottom is clean. And you should also make sure you tar it before you ever go ahead and put your sample in there. So whenever you transfer your sample in, you should make sure that you do not fill it any more than half full. If you do fill it more than half full, what you should do is empty some of that out, and then you're gonna have to do multiple Rotovaps. Otherwise, you might lose some of your product. So here we have some sample. Just gonna transfer it to our round bottom. See, we don't have too much in there, it's less than half full. Okay, then you're gonna want to turn on your heat. Switch is right here on the side. You're gonna wanna set it between 30 and 40 degrees. So right here you can see the dials between 30 and 40. All right, so once you have your sample ready and everything, before you actually put it onto the Rotovap, you want to first turn on the water that goes to the condenser and keeps your solvent from going up into the vacuum. So you're just going to turn on the water, do it slowly, otherwise you might shoot water everywhere. And you should make sure that water is actually emptying out of the line. So if you go back here, you can see water is coming out. And you make sure it's snug down in there and you don't want to spill it everywhere. There you go. After you've turned on the water and before you put your sample on, you want to test the suction for the Rotovap. So you're going to go to the vacuum pump and you're going to hit the on switch. It's on the front. And then you're going to go over here and put your finger here. So when this valve is pointed straight up and down, it's letting air into the system and there shouldn't be any vacuum. So you're going to keep your finger on the front and then turn this, and you should now feel suction. If you don't feel suction, then let your TA know, because that means the vacuum isn't working right. So once you feel suction, you're just going to turn the valve back. You should hear the air go in, and you can turn off the vacuum pump. Okay, so now that we know the vacuum works and the water is running, you want to make sure this piece right here has grease on it. So right now it's just bare. Your grease comes in containers like that, and it really does not take a lot at all. So make sure you're wearing gloves. Just apply a little bit to your finger. That's probably quite a bit. And you just want to put it on. Try not to get it on the inside. Just do it on the outside. That's quite a bit right there. Yeah, and once you do that for the first time, probably anyone that follows probably won't have to put any additional grease on it. It should be good for the entire lab section. So once you've greased this, if it wasn't greased already, you're going to want to put your sample on and make sure that you have a KET clamp ready. So put your round bottom on like this, turn it a little, make sure it's snug, and then you're going to want to put the KET clamp on. I believe that's the wrong size KET clamp. Is that one size too small? Is that right? Oh, that's right. So once you have the cat clamp on, then what you're going to want to do, you've got your temperature, you've got it set to between 30 and 40 degrees. You're going to turn your vacuum on. You're going to turn this knob. And you're going to hit the on switch up here, which starts the spinning. You're going to have to turn this knob a little bit. Start to see it spin. Okay? So turn your valve. That's going to put the suction on. Okay? And you can start to see it bubble. Some of your DCM is going to be evaporating or whatever solvent you're using. And then you're going to want to raise up the water bath so we can raise the temperature of the sample. Help it evaporate. And you don't want to actually fully submerge your round bottom. You just want it sitting in the water. Make sure you don't actually have water covering your joint or anything. So now when I showed you putting on the sample onto here, putting your round bottom, I showed that you put the round bottom on first and then you turned on the vacuum. You actually should first turn on the vacuum and then put on your round bottom flask. So once you have your solvent evaporating, if you notice that it's starting to, I guess, bump a lot, and you're seeing your sample try and come up into this next trap, what you want to do is you either want to lower it out of the water, that way it's not being heated as much and the bumping should stop, or you can also release the vacuum. So whenever you're finally done, you've evaporated all your solvent, what you want to do is you want to turn off your vacuum, go to the vacuum pump, then you're going to turn off the rotor, turn off the spinning. Okay, and you can lower this. Make sure that your vacuum is released if you haven't done it already. And then you can remove your sample. So carefully take off the cut clamp. You don't want to lose your sample now in the water bath. Just slightly spin it off. And then there you go. And then you should be able to leave on the water bath for the next person. You may want to turn on the water. You may want to turn off the water. Or if someone's about to use it, you can just leave it on. And that is how you use the Rotovap.